Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to Casual Fridays. I'm Adam Southey, and today we're gonna go over how to fill in a land purchase and sell agreement. Before we do that though, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit the subscribe button. We really appreciate you. It really helps the show out and keeps us coming back each and every week with these awesome free videos for you. All right, so you've got your first offer accepted, and now you need to get your piece of land under contract. This is super important, so we make sure we get this right. I'm gonna make it really easy for you. We're gonna first go over the contract that we use in our training here at Casual Fridays, and then I'm gonna show you how to find and fill in a state-specific one. Every state has a different one. You can use that. The one that we use in our training, we've used in almost every state, so we know it works. So you'll have the option of either one, but I wanna make sure you know how to do both. So let's get into it. Okay guys, this is the contract that we use in our land business. It's really simple. It is just over one page. It lays out everything that needs to be laid out, and I'm gonna show you right now how we fill it out. So there's two people in the transaction. There's a seller and the buyer. In our case, since we're learning how to fill this out, chances are we are the buyer. So what we do is come in, we take the seller information. We don't leave this name, email, or phone number. We'll take those out and just enter whatever the name is. Let's say Billy Bob, and then their email and their phone number, just delete those and replace them there. Then come over here on the buyer side, make sure you do the same for yourself. Your name or your company's name, your email and phone number. And right underneath it, this is a contract for the purchase and sale of 1, 2, 3, however many pieces of land you're buying or parcel properties. In this case, this is just an example for a piece of property I purchased, but you can change this. Just put 1 right here if you're just buying one piece of land. Located in county and state. It's really important that you fill this in. We've actually got it bolded and underlined so that people can see it. Buyer and seller agree to the following terms. So this is where you'll fill in a little bit of information about the property. Property description, number 1. You can take that number 1 off or just leave property, leave it there and just have property description. But you want to put the parcel number. So it's the APN, the property ID, any of those names will work. You put it right here. And then legal description, you want to fill that in exactly like you see it, either on the county records or from the previous deed. Guys, that's where you'll find this stuff. If you're buying a piece of land, you're going to want the legal description. So check with the county, ask the person you're buying it from if they have a previous deed. Check online. You need to have this stuff. And then the acreage. So in this case, it was 22 acres I was buying. But these 3 things right here are what you need. Now, if you have multiple properties, you can put them in here. If you don't, just take them out and we'll keep moving forward. So price, buyer will pay X amount of US dollars. So we'll only accept funds paid by a cashier's check or wire transfer. So fill in however much you're paying it from here. And the rest of this stuff is there to cover anything base that you need, like you would see from a long form contract. So title and conveyance just says, they'll transfer a marketable title to the property by warranty deed. This is very important. You're closing through a title company. They're going to go through, they're going to make sure that there's no liens, nothing holding you back against the property, and then they'll issue you a full warranty deed. Seller will clear all liens or encumbrances from the title. Buyer will clear unpaid taxes and current year's prorations unless otherwise noted. So this right here is a negotiable term. You don't have to clear any unpaid taxes. You can say buyer and seller will split. You can say seller will clear. It's completely up to you. We typically go with buyer will clear them. Closing. Now this lays out who will pay for what. So the buyer will pay for their fees. The seller will pay for the fees. And it'll be closed by a reputable notary public, title company, attorney, or as determined by the buyer. Closing date. You need to have a closing date. We typically shoot for about 30 days out from the day we get the contract. You fill this in right here. Cancellation. This stuff can stay the same. This will stay the same. Assignments. All of this stuff you want to read through. None of it is set in stone, but as we have it, we very rarely touch this stuff. Contingencies. If during your time when negotiating on the property and you say that I'll buy the piece of land if this happens or if it meets this requirement, this is where you will put that stuff. For us, we always put has maintained legal road access and meets our purchasing requirements. And then you're going to want to have them, the seller will sell it, they'll date it, and then you will sell it. You will sign it and date it. And under here where it says name, you'll want to fill in their name. And the same with buyer. So make sure you put your name or your company's name. Whatever you put up here at the top, make sure it matches down here. And since we went down to one parcel, it shortened our contract to one page, which we really like. Makes it really simple and really easy to get filled out. Once you've filled this out and you've signed it, we typically will DocuSign this and send it to the seller to have them sign, just for ease. They don't have to print it. They don't have to do anything. They just sign online and send it back. All right, guys, that's it for this one. This is, again, is the purchase and sale agreement that we use and we have used in almost every state, so we know that it works. But next, I'm going to show you how to find and fill out a state-specific one, because every real estate agency in your state will have a unimproved property contract. And if you feel more comfortable using it, you can. I'm going to show you how. So here we go. Okay, guys, this is your state-specific contract. This one is Texas, but if you go to Google and you type the words from whatever state you are in, followed by unimproved property contract, you will be able to find whatever official one your state has. I did, this one's Texas, I did Oklahoma, and then also found a Missouri one. So I'm gonna go through this really quickly just because this can get really long. I'm trying to keep it under 5 minutes, hit the important parts that you need to know, and then get you going. So you'll notice right here, parties to this contract are, this is where the seller's name goes, the buyer, that's you or your company name, property, this is the lot and block, any subdivision it's in, and the city it's in, the county it's in, and then also known as, this would be the address if it has an address. So for example, let's say lot 1, block 2, Sunrise Edition, city of Fort Worth, county of Tarrant, also known as 123 ABC Street. Sales price, if you're paying all cash, put the total sales amount here. If you're going to be financing it, put your down payment here, third party financing, how much you're going to finance, and then the total. If it's just a cash buy, you're going to put $50,000 if that's what you're paying. You're not going to have a third party financing in the addendum. This will be $0, and this will be total sales price. Leases, if there's any like a natural gas lease against it, you need to let the seller needs to let you know, and they need to be able to get you a copy of the lease. If they have it, then and they haven't given it to you, you have to give them a certain amount of days to get it to you. Shouldn't be too difficult. Earnest money and termination period. So you need to give them earnest money. Typically, you'll see $1,000 is a very easy number, very common number, but the buyer must deliver it to the title company, whatever that title company is named, their address, how much you're paying in earnest money, and then how much you're going to pay for an option period. These two numbers, 1,000 and 100, are super common. Buyer shall deliver additional earnest money. This is if you have to pay 2 different times for earnest money. Not super common. I always put it in 0. This is a negotiable term, but since it's not common, 0 should be fine. The option period. Give yourself as long as you can here. You want to make sure that you have plenty of time to inspect the property and back out of the contract if needed. I always put 10 days. Right here at the bottom of it, there's going to be every single page will have a place for you and the seller to initial. And at the top, we'll have a place for you to put the address. Every single page, if you don't have an address, you need to put something that represents the property. Number 6 talks about surveys. Who's going to pay for it? If seller's going to pay for it, if you're going to pay for it, and then if there's anything that needs to be changed to that, who's going to pay for any changes? Again, negotiable terms, select one, and come to agreement with your seller. Title company, surveys. If your seller has a survey, they need to get it to you. They need to have, this is a negotiable date. I always put 5 days. If they've got it, shouldn't be that difficult to get it to you. If they don't, who will pay for a new one before closing? If you have any objections, this part right here is typically left blank. I always put 5 days to give yourself if you have any objections to anything that you see on the survey. But with that legal jargon right here is the property part of a POA or HOA. yes or no. And then keep scrolling. Is it part of the agricultural development district? Yes or no. Number 7, do you accept the property as is? Yes, you do, or no, you don't. And then disclosures. Does the person you're buying it from, or are you a real estate agent? And then closing. You have a closing date. We typically shoot for 30 days out, but the date and year. Any special provisions, these have to be factual statements. This is left blank a lot, so don't worry about it too much. And then if the seller's going to pay anything out of their pocket outside of the sales price, put that here. Again, typically not that common in a land purchase. Get through the rest of this legal jargon. This stuff's important. Make sure you read it and understand it, but there's nothing for you to fill out. And then notices. Do you have an attorney? I'm sorry, not this part. During closing, you may have to get mailed some documents. Where do they mail to? Your name, your address, phone, email, fax. Same for the seller. And then any addendums. So if you're getting a loan, you're probably going to need a third-party financing addendum. If it's part of an HOA or POA, you're going to need to have those. Make sure these are selected and find those documents online to fill out too. Do you have an attorney? If you do and you want them to get information, fill it out here. I've never once seen anybody fill these out. And then this part right here, super important. This shows when both parties agree to the contract, when it's been executed and it's finalized. You need to put in that. So the 17th day of May, 20, blah, blah, blah. And then buyer and seller both sign it. And that's it. This next info is only if you have a realtor involved. If you are filling this contract out yourself, chances are you don't, but just in case you do, their firm name goes here, the broker's license number, if they represented you as the buyer or the seller or both, the realtor's name, their license number, if they're on a team, if they're not, don't worry, leave it blank, their email, phone, their boss's name, their boss's license number, their office address, phone, city, state, and zip. Fill that out on both sides, and then right here says how much they will get paid. You put in the percentage, 3% of the sales price, 5% of the sales price, whatever that is y'all came to agreement on. And these are receipts. Once you turn in that option fee and that earnest money, the title company will fill these out and send them back to you, and that's it. All right, guys, simple enough. Remember, there's a lot of stuff, legal jargon in here that you don't have anything to do. The beauty of these is that they are plug and play. You just fill in where they left the blanks, and then you'll be good to go. All right, guys, that's it. Super simple. You should now be able to fill out that land purchase sale agreement and get your first property under contract. So congratulations to you. Hopefully you've got a lot more of those coming down the pipeline real soon. Before we let you go, though, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We really appreciate it. It keeps us coming back each and every week to bring you more and more awesome content. So until next time, see you guys.